Folks, the AI race has a new goalpost, a new target for all of the open source developers and other companies to hit. And of course, this new target is brought to us by OpenAI. Yep, they are king of the hill once again, releasing the best models that are the most cost efficient and benchmarking a lot higher than anything else we've seen before. Guys, we are talking about significant improvements here. This is the takeoff effect of chain of thought and inferencing becoming a new scaling law for large language models. I also think that for OpenAI, this has been a little bit of a reaction to the DeepSeek R1 models that supposedly kind of took the market down in the US tech space last week. OpenAI just couldn't stand to be stomped on by some lowly open source competitor, so they upped their game. This is why I say competition is great for us all. In this video, we're going to be playing around with these brand new models from OpenAI, testing them out a little bit. We're going to dive into the blog posts, some community reactions, and of course, the benchmarks, which are just absurd. The best model we're taking a look at today is almost 10 times better than GPT-4 Omni. 10 times! I mean, it's just absurd. The power potential of AI is unbelievable. Let's dive in. First up, let's talk about what was announced from OpenAI. January 31st, we saw them drop O3 Mini, so this was last Friday, and O3 Mini comes in two model variations inside of ChatGPT. We'll talk about how you can access them and what they're capable of in a little bit. On February 2nd, which was yesterday, they introduced deep research. And I personally think deep research is the most exciting thing they announced, as this particular model was the one that scored that 10x or nearly 10x benchmark over GPT-4 Omni. Let's start off with O3 Mini. Obviously, guys, O3 Mini is a successor to the O1 series of models. Back in December, OpenAI teased O3 and what it was capable of, but now it's accessible in ChatGPT and on the API. O3 Mini is a smaller model in terms of parameter count, which means it doesn't use that much compute, but it does chain of thought thinking, and it does it better than O1 while being more cost effective. It has better STEM capabilities, most notably, so that would be science, math, coding, and as I said, it's also available in the API, and it's also their first small reasoning model that supports all the developer features, so people can start building with it right away. So that's function calling, structured outputs, and developer messages. Right now, the O3 models are available to Plus users, Team users, and Pro users. Enterprise users are getting access in February. We've also got an upgrade on the message cap, the daily message cap, so it's going from 50 messages with these O series thinking models to 150 messages per day, obviously due to the increased cost efficiency. O3 Mini also works out of the box with search, but does not work with image recognition. I'm a big fan of image recognition. It clearly has the capability, being Omni, an O series model, to do image recognition, but for now they're keeping it out of our hands and we don't really know why. Free plan users can also try O3 Mini by selecting the reason option in the message composer, so I like that they are still giving this cutting edge model to free users to test out, even if it is pretty limited. I also can't help but feel that they wouldn't be giving free access to O3 Mini without something like DeepSeek R1 existing, providing significant competition, because that model can be accessed for free in a wide variety of different websites. All right, let's take a quick peek at some benchmarks. We've got O1 Mini and then the full O1. These are the previous models. O3 Mini Low, so the smallest size here, is still a little bit under O1 Mini and definitely quite a bit under O1. But next up with O3 Mini Medium Size, it benches quite a bit higher than O1 Mini and is nearly at the same capability level as O1. Now, O3 Mini High here is the best model out of this new series, giving us a new high score of 87.3, and this benchmark in specific is competition math, so that's AIM 2024, and we're really getting close again to 100% accuracy, meaning these models are going to surpass the benchmark we were testing them on, which is crazy. The development rate of this is insane. We went from O1 Mini getting a D ranged score, 63.6, if we use like an American school grading scale, to O3 Mini High getting a B plus, 87.3. What do you think full O3 is going to get? probably well into the 90s. Wouldn't be surprised if it was an A+. Moving on to PhD level science questions, this is GPQA Diamond. Very similar story. These models are much more leveled off though in general, with O3 Mini High taking the cake. But still, we see both O3 Mini Low and Medium come very close to the original O1. For coding, though, things change a little bit. The O3 series of models in general just slaughters in terms of coding capability. Previous O1 got a 1891 ELO score. O3 Mini Low trails just behind it with 1831, but then O3 Mini Medium and High stomp all over original O1, getting scores pretty deep into the 2000s territory. Now, there are a ton of benchmarks on here, and we've got a ton to cover today, so I'm obviously going to link everything below if you want to take a closer look. In general, the models are smarter for their size and faster for their size. All right, now let's talk about deep research. Now, deep research, it's not necessarily a model in itself, it's more of an agentic framework as a whole, because it's not only using LLMs, but it's also using other tools to be able to search the web. And basically, as they describe it, it's an agent that uses reasoning to synthesize large amounts of online information and complete multi-step research tasks for you. Now, this one is only available to pro users right now, which is very disappointing. I'm a Plus user currently. As you guys know, ChatGPT Pro is a staggering $200 a month. In my opinion, it's just an absurd price tag. Plus is only $20 a month. I find it pretty disappointing that Plus users don't have any access to deep research. Like, we can't even try it without spending $200. I don't want to say it OpenAI, but kind of a dick move. They provide some quick footage showing how the model works. You click deep research, you give it a pretty detailed prompt, and it goes to town. For this specific one, we're looking for a research report on how the retail industry has changed in the past 3 years. It actually goes ahead and asks a follow-up question, which is very rare for a large language model to do in my experience. Anyways, we say we want a global perspective on the retail industry, and it gives an overview of what it's about to do, and then a loading bar will appear on the screen. It says it's starting its research, and it's going to take, anywhere from a few minutes to, I've heard it goes up to 10 minutes in some cases, doing all this different research, and it gives you a full detailed breakdown report. Now, this is the model, folks, where this is the framework that was able to achieve a nearly 10 times higher score than GPT-4 Omni on one of the most challenging AI benchmarks, which is crazy. It's absolutely crazy to think about. We're moving away from necessarily training larger and larger models, but now we're moving into chain of thought thinking. We're moving into deeper research, utilizing the capabilities of the LLM much more. The power potential was already there in these models previously, but now we're hooking them up and giving them the right tools necessary to be better, if that makes sense. It can go through hundreds of online sources to give your comprehensive report. They claim it's at the level of a research analyst, and from the examples I've seen so far, that's absolutely true. Now, this framework under the hood is powered by the full big bad O3 model. I assume it's an O3 preview. I don't think they're totally done with O3 just yet, but this one's also more optimized for web browsing and data analysis. Apparently, it also does have the capability not to just analyze text though, but also images, as well as PDFs. I really like this statement in the blog post as well. The ability to synthesize knowledge is a prerequisite for creating new knowledge. For this reason, deep research marks a significant step forward towards their broader goal of developing AGI, which of course is that super loose definition. But OpenAI does kind of give us a benchmark for AGI here. They claim it should be able to produce novel scientific research, new theories, actually probably go out and test those theories for themselves and help advance society as a whole. All right, let's talk about some comparisons. As we can see, the comparison is directly with GPT-4o. When you're using something like deep research, you're asking very complicated questions. This isn't help me make a meal plan for the rest of the week. This is help me find iOS and Android adoption rates percentage who want to learn another language and, all this other stuff. It's a very specific prompt. Now, to GPT-4o's credit, it does give you an answer, a very generalized answer, as well as some insights and then finally some recommendations. It's not a bad response, but Deep Research's response is just on another level. It gives us a full table breakdown, country, market share, for both iOS and Android, interest in new language by percentage of population, very specific, and the mobile penetration change over 10 years, so 2013 to 2023. Like I said, we've got so much to cover, so I can't exactly break this example down all the way for you, but it's a lot more useful than the GPT-4o answer, obviously. We've got real data here, real insights into specific markets in terms of the changing growth rate between iOS and Android, and the recommendations section is far longer. Based on the above, prime targets for a new ChatGPT-powered iOS translation app would be countries with large iOS user bases and strong language learning demand, notably Japan, the US, UK, Canada, and Australia as top choices for this app. So that's where you would want to market to. This would be someone's job. How long would this take a traditional data analyst to come up with and then provide this result? I mean, it'd take hours, if not possibly days, to gather all this information and get to these insights, and this thing can do it in minutes. It's on another level. This is just one in terms of the business sector. We've got a needle in a haystack. This prompt is basically asking for a specific moment in a TV show. The user can't remember what TV show it's from. GPT-4o gives an answer that is just straight up incorrect, where Deep Research gives us exactly what we're looking for, even down to the moment of the TV show that was specifically mentioned. So its ability to go out on the web and grab the information you're looking for, not having to rely on its database, or its training data, I should say. I mean, it's here. It can really use the internet better than a lot of you guys probably would, at least in terms of gathering information. We've also got examples for medical research. This stuff is all beyond me. Study the patterns and the changes to the proteins and corresponding results across the papers and list the top 3 domains that scientists modify to increase efficiency and why they believe these changes are effective. I'm not a medical research person. I'm just trying to give you guys a good look at the capabilities, but based on the response from Deep Research here, look at how long this is. Absolutely absurd. This is the longest, by far, generation I've ever seen come out of a large language model, but to also have this information be accurate and based on sources, totally insane. Now here's something that's more for us average everyday Joes. This is a shopping example. We're looking for a very specific kind of snowboard. It's the perfect snowboard for us, right? We're going to tell ChatGPT specifically where we're going to be riding the snowboard and how often. We want a snowboard that's going to be going on groomed trails, but also fresh powder. We're giving it quite a lot of different requirements for this specific product, down to, the color palette, which we want to be citrus, our budget here, and the models must be available in Japan. It does its deep research, and it's able to give us a breakdown with a bunch of different snowboards that meet all of the requirements specifically. That's such a cool model and framework. The deep research is so intriguing to me. I really want to try it out, but locking it behind that $200 a month right out of the gate is really aggravating. I gotta say, I can feel the money in my pocket becoming looser though, so I guess I can't really judge OpenAI if I am going to end up paying for it. Alright, let's get to the benchmark that is really driving headlines. The benchmark's called Humanity's Last Exam. It's very recent, and it's an evaluation that tests AI across a very broad range of subjects on expert-level questions. And the model scores a brand new high score. It's the best in the world on this particular benchmark. O3, which is powering Deep Research under the hood, showcased a very human-like approach by effectively seeking out specialized information when necessary, obviously from the web, from the internet. So yeah, our accuracy here from GPT-4 Omni is 3.3%. This is the typical model a lot of people use in ChatGPT nowadays, especially if you use the free version. Deep Research here achieves a 26.6% accuracy. Now, keep in mind, all of these benchmarks, and according to this humanities last exam, are technically in the F range, right? We haven't even cracked 50%, but this is a brand new benchmark, and we're already handedly cruising through it with brand new models. Once we get to the 30%, whatever model that touches that will absolutely be 10 times better in this particular benchmark than GPT-4 Omni. We can see a lot of other famous models that you guys know of aren't even close to touching deep research though. Original O1 is sitting all the way down here at 9.1. DeepSeek R1 is just a little bit better at 9.4, and this is the big model that, supposedly made all the markets tank. Even O3 Mini and Medium really struggle with this benchmark. It's a tough one, but that deep research has really significantly helped the accuracy, giving the model significant capability to provide good answers. Claude 3.5 Sonnet is still a really great model here at a 4.3%, but nowhere near deep research or any of the O series models or R1. Gemini Thinking kind of comes out smack in the middle, but it shows that Google's thinking model is maybe a little bit behind even DeepSeek R1, which is open source and free. Crazy competition, crazy rate and speed of development. It's all absurd and it's very exciting for humanity's future. These models are going to be able to do things much faster than humans at a human level, if not better. I mean, what do you think things are going to look like in 2 years, guys? O1 was originally announced towards the end of 2024. Now we're already moving on to O3 Mini, which is scoring higher, and then deep research, which is just at another level in just like a few months. What do you think is going on in the background of a lot of these companies? Everything is about to change, guys. AI is the next technological revolution. Again, guys, there is an absolute plethora of other benchmarks and tests, so I'm going to link this down below if you want to take a look. We will take a quick peek at this video they made, but after that, I actually want to get into using these models hands-on.
So you start up with a question and you might not know anything about it. And then you put your researcher's hat on and you're like, let me think about this a bit more. Where can I go look? Well, my name is Reem Anshasi. I am a director in the Research and Data Services Department in Bain, San Francisco. Good research to me is being able to deliver the latest data, the most credible data. It's difficult because the research topics have become much more niche, and that's why we continuously innovate to make sure we're capturing all these nuances. I got access to deep research, and what I liked about it is that it really is trying to understand what the requester needs, even down to like, what geographies are you looking at? What industries are you looking at? All these tools can help enhance that. This week, I've been working on the semiconductor chip shortage. I want to understand the underlying reasons and which industries were affected the most and what the outlook will be for the next few years. So I put in a prompt. I asked it to look at industry publications, consulting briefs, publicly available data, as well as data from semiconductor associations. It summed up rather quickly what the underlying causes were and provided some context. And if you hover over the source, you can see that it leads you to a website. It will give me a very holistic view. And I'm excited because I can do it much faster now. I think
Pretty cool.
Alongside ChatGPT, AI, deep research, these kind of tools increase my personal capacity so that I can use my time doing other research tasks. For me, that is the joy of research, staying curious and always keeping an open mind and learning.
Yeah, so a real-world use case from someone who actually does research as their job. All right, so let's move into ChatGPT. We'll select O3 Mini to start off with. I'm not sure if this is O3 Mini Low or Medium. I assume it's probably O3 Mini Low, which actually benchmarks a little bit lower than the original O1 in a lot of circumstances. But we also have access to O3 Mini High, which is the best model and is absolutely better than O1 in a lot of circumstances. Well, let's start off with the smaller model. We will enable web search. I want you to reason through a theoretical idea. The idea is for a video game that will capture the hearts and minds of people all across the world. It should be the next step forward for gaming, but also be scientifically sound, meaning it would be possible to create under an indie game studio, non-AAA. In order to achieve this, I want you to discover the underlying reasons games are successful, and then extrapolate new creative ideas based on those reasons. Basically, this game is going to satisfy an itch that people never knew they wanted to scratch. And I'm actually going to duplicate this prompt and we'll run it side by side comparing O3 Mini and O3 Mini High. All right, let's see. We'll do a quick little comparison for these models like that, and we'll see how fast they can respond. Looks like O3 Mini, the regular version, is a lot quicker to begin to generate text. You can see some of the, summarized chain of thought going through here, envisioning the game, creating a compelling game. O3 Mini High just kicked off. I suspect that O3 Mini High is actually the model that is being used quite a bit more on OpenAI's servers right now, considering how much slower it is right now. And O3 Mini is done. Still waiting on O3 Mini High. It is now unraveling game success, apparently, in the chain of thought. All right, wow, we have a really nice big answer, though, from O3 Mini here. Innovative gameplay mechanics. Successful games often introduce mechanics that redefine how players interact with their virtual worlds. Some titles show that simple repetitive actions can be reimagined to create provocative experience that challenge the player's expectations. O3 Mini also reasons that immersive narratives and emotional resonance can strongly enhance a video game. Deep desire in players to see their actions reflected in a living, evolving story. I like the insight, aesthetic appeal, and nostalgia. Pixel art evokes a sense of nostalgia. Some developers are now exploring lo-fi charm of early 3D. That's a pretty good little insight. Also makes a note that constant player feedback helps shape the final product in the best way possible. Emerging technology and dynamic interaction, advances in AI and procedural generation are opening up fresh avenues for dynamic, unscripted player NPC interactions. By using generative AI, for example, studios are beginning to craft NPCs that respond with nuance rather than canned dialogue. Of course, we want to see AI integrated into our video games. All right, now here is the game concept it came up with, Echoes of Memory. Based on these success factors, consider a game that combines all of this together. Dynamic memory matrix. Imagine a system where every player decision imprints on a memory matrix, an evolving archive that influences the game world in real time, similar to emergent systems studied in academic settings. Ooh, see research on mixed initiative storytelling. Oh wow, okay, it pulled a research paper up. This mechanic means that no two playthroughs are alike. Players might unlock new abilities, alter story branches, or see the world's environment subtly shift based on past actions. Definitely could be enhanced by AI as well. Borrowing ideas from co-creative storytelling research, the game would let players collaborate with an AI that helps generate narrative elements. This doesn't replace the human touch, but enhances it. NPCs could engage in dialogue that adapts to the player's history in the game, reflecting both personal choices and collective player contributions. Retro low-resolution elements evoking the early 3D style that is becoming more trendy. Choice plays homage to nostalgia while establishing a unique visual identity. Fair enough. I mean, this is a pretty good breakdown plan just from the regular O3 Mini. By the way, O3 Mini High is still going here. I think, again, the API and the servers are just kind of getting hammered right now. Apparently, we would set this game in a surreal world that represents the collective memory of humanity. The narrative would be fluid and emergent as players explore fragmented memories and piece together the world's history. The story adapts, much like assembling a puzzle where every piece is influenced by player decisions. Interesting concept. It's also recommending that we launch the game in early access, obviously through Steam, to help refine the mechanics and the narrative of the game. That makes sense. All right, now it breaks down why it would captivate players. Satisfies an unarticulated itch. Many players crave an experience where their choices have long-lasting visible impacts. The dynamic memory matrix taps into this desire. And you know what? That's actually a really good point. I mean, a lot of video games in the past don't use an ever-changing story. I mean, it was difficult to develop without the technology we currently have available to us today. So, not bad, O3 Mini, not bad. Tangible connection between action and consequence. Yeah, that is that kind of hits the nail on the head, to be honest. And this is the smaller model. By allowing players to co-create parts of the narrative, the game becomes not just a story told to them, but one they help write, a process that can deeply be moving and personally significant. I like it. Accessible yet profound. So the reason that we would specifically go for a retro-futuristic aesthetic is because mainly it reduces production costs while still offering a distinct stylistic presentation, definitely in line with indie, makes the project scientifically and financially viable for an indie studio, harness modern technology, emerging AI tools, dynamic NPC interactions without requiring AAA budgets, definitely possible. Yeah, this balance of technology and human creativity positions the game as the next step forward. Very cool. You know what? I'm really impressed just from the smaller O3 mini model. I think it did a pretty great job. I think this is a compelling layout. It's not as long as something I think we would see from Deep Research. And again, guys, I'm just itching to try that. O3 Mini is still going at it over here, though, so we'll see what it comes up with. I'm hoping it gives us a little bit more of a detailed response, maybe a little bit more poignant and specific. All right, in classic OpenAI fashion, I have had to restart the prompt for O3 Mini High. It is taking forever, and it seems to not be working. OpenAI, I pay for ChatGPT Plus. I should be able to access the model. And finally, we got a nice answer out of O3 Mini High. It thought for almost 2 minutes here. Again, guys, inference here, inferencing. All right, so already we're seeing some parallels here, emotional games and narratives. Many of the most memorable games, whether it's the silent poetry of Journey or the emotional depth of Celeste, draw players into a world that speaks to universal themes like hope, loss, or personal growth. You know what? That's actually something very similar to what O3 Mini touched on, a smaller model, but O3 High, I think, did a little bit of a better job at explaining why it's necessary for a successful game, or might be necessary. It's a narrative that isn't just a backdrop, but it's also a living, evolving experience where every choice matters. And again, that final part where every choice matters is really the nail on the head, I think, for this particular question. Player agency and emergent gameplay give players the feeling that their decisions truly affect the world. Again, also was iterated in the other response. Narrative branches based on choice. Gameplay mechanics lead to unexpected emergent interactions. Social connection, even in single-player games. The players want to feel a part of something larger, a shared experience that transcends individual play sessions. Obviously, good aesthetic and atmosphere, an evocative art style, music, and sound design can elevate a game, making even simple mechanics feel very profound. Pixel art, hand-drawn visuals, minimalist design to create moods that stick with players after they've put down the controller. Simplicity in design. A lot of the most successful indie games start with a simple core idea, but layer it with depth. Yeah, very true. This allows for both easy entry so new players aren't overwhelmed and long-term mastery, so experienced players feel very continually challenged. You know what? That's a really great point that we didn't see O3 Mini, the smaller model, bring up. It's one thing to get someone to begin to play a game, but for them to keep playing it, that's a more challenging order at the end of the day. So now we move on to the part where we extrapolate a new idea. And again, comes up with something shockingly similar, Threads of Memory. A game where you wander through a surreal, ever-shifting world composed of memory nodes. Wow, that's actually crazy similar. Each a vignette or fragment of a larger communal narrative. You're not just playing a story, you're helping to weave it. Every choice, every path subtly alters the tapestry of memories. Your decisions don't just affect your personal journey, they ripple out to influence a global narrative tapestry. Yeah, that's actually a really good point, and something that should maybe even be highlighted more. Because if you don't have that, it's not going to feel like your decisions are really rooted in the world. Shape the lore and even alter the game's environment in meaningful ways. So yeah, I mean, that again touches on things that were already mentioned in this original response. Minimalist yet evocative art style, not as specific as the nostalgia style appeal that the previous model went through. We've got some themes for the game though, which is a little bit more poignant and specific like I was hoping to see. So memory, loss, and rediscovery discovery, inviting players to reflect on their own experiences while navigating a world that feels both alien and intimately familiar. I suppose so. There are a lot of games that also center around this, though. Could be a little bit depressing. Core mechanics might involve exploration and light puzzle solving. The environment reacts dynamically, though, to actions. Solving a puzzle might restore a part of the world, altering the narrative context in unexpected ways. Okay, that's a good little trigger to an idea, I would say. I'd probably want to refine that specific one, though, a little bit more. Subtle social integration without requiring constant online connectivity. The game includes asynchronous elements where player choices contribute to a shared memory archive. Think of it as an evolving mural of stories. Each player's journey adds brushstrokes to the communal canvas. This is a really cool idea, but I think in practice it would be pretty difficult to implement effectively. That would take a lot more research and reasoning through to implement effectively. And occasional in-game events might highlight particularly resonant stories, fostering a sense of community among players who may never directly interact, but still share the same experience. Indie-friendly execution. Use accessible engines like Unity or Godot. You can create a 2D or stylized 3D world with modular narrative segments. Procedural elements can be incorporated to vary the experience without requiring massive amounts of handcrafted content. Okay. Easier said than done. Art and sound, minimalist aesthetic, minimizes asset creation costs while maximizing emotional impact. Yeah, think like Thomas Was Alone, for example. Music, sound design, though simple, can be layered to adapt to the player's choices. Scalability. By building the narrative in modular nodes, development can proceed incrementally. Early releases might focus on a limited set of memory nodes, with new content added over time. Hey, that's something I didn't think about. Keeping the community engaged and the development cycle manageable. Fulfills the deep need for meaning. Okay, that's a pretty good touchstone. I think that's actually a better way to say it than satisfying an unarticulated itch. It mirrors our real-life desire to leave a mark, to be part of something larger than ourselves. It's subtle, almost philosophical, but invites introspection while still being accessible. You know what? That's pretty good. That's good. Interplay between your individual journey and the communal narrative creates a unique experience every time you play. Unpredictability, yes. I think everyone agrees with this. This is definitely something that people want to see more of in video games. Simple and deep. Mechanics are straightforward to invite casual play, but emergent systems and layered narrative offer depth. All right, so which response do you think was better? I think there's good things that you could take from both of these responses. They were surprisingly different. The smaller O3 Mini did a better job, in my opinion, at giving me specific points to start off of. And O3 Mini High still gave plenty of those, don't get me wrong, but I really liked some of the specifics, such as the retro graphics that are a trendy thing nowadays, especially, the specifics on the early 3D games. That's something new. That's a new niche. But I will say, I think O3 Mini High here did a better job explaining why games could be successful and what nuances to focus on to make your game successful at the end of the day. I think it went a little bit more beyond in describing that, but both responses are very impressive nonetheless. Alright, I was trying to figure out whether or not I wanted to include some testing of deep research in this video, and honestly, I think this video is already going to be super long, so I'm thinking about doing deep research in an upcoming video. Let me know if that's something you would want to see. Again, I'm going to have to foot $200 out of my own pocket to get access to it this early on. I really want to test it out though, so if you guys are interested in deep research, let me know. I will absolutely do a video on it. Don't worry though, I'm still going to be showing off some more deep research examples from the community coming up next. This comes from Addy here on Twitter. They had Deep Research conduct an expert-level business and technical analysis on DeepSeek's entire R&D history and made very good extrapolations from it. I want you guys to appreciate this. Look at how much it wrote. Deep research is so intriguing to me. I really did want to try it out in today's video, but it's just going to be so long. This video is already probably going to be 40 minutes. The biggest insight is that complex reasoning behaviors can emerge in a language model through reinforcement learning alone. Very, very cool. Something I've mentioned in the past also. DeepSeek observed that by letting the model iteratively improve itself, the model discovered its own strategies to solve problems, effectively developing a chain of thought reasoning capability without explicit supervision. Comes right from the paper as well. You can see arxiv.org cited in all of this. An LLM can teach itself intermediate reasoning steps. They noted the model had an aha moment during training where its performance on reasoning benchmarks jumped dramatically. Test time compute, baby. Test time compute. Balance reinforcement learning with supervision for quality. An important takeaway here in the paper is that you have to actually balance both of them to make sure that your model ends up coherent and steered in the way that you want. Just optimizing for reinforcement learning can produce a very logically strong model, but also stylistically poor model. They inject a cold start of supervised data in a final fine-tuning pass that gives it more user-friendly behavior. Small models can learn big skills. Don't worry, we already know that. We just looked at OpenAI's O3 mini models. Tiny models can acquire abilities far beyond what their size suggests. And I mean, that is just a great thing that we learned from the R1 research paper and also OpenAI's O-series models as well. We also learned that chain of thought length matters a lot. Massive context windows unlock new tasks. Sheep doesn't necessarily mean weak. Definitely true. There's also, the whole competitive positioning with OpenAI versus DeepSeek. It goes deep into that here. I mean, just a wall of text with tons of different researches, IBM, TechTarget, all of these different places. It's crazy. And then we also get some speculative future developments like DeepSeek R2, generalized reasoning plus alignment. It's very likely that DeepSeek will follow up R1 with an R2 reasoning model, addressing R1's limitations. R2 could blend the efficiency of rule-based reinforcement learning with a secondary alignment training stage for toxicity reduction, for example. R2 might experiment with even longer chain of thoughts or tree of thought methods. Very interesting. Might also see R2 become more multilingual. Has also shown that they are not afraid of huge models as long as they can manage costs. In 2025, they could attempt to break the 1 trillion parameter barrier that extends mixture of experts paradigm even further. I think the future really is in chain of thought, though, honestly, not necessarily massive models. I would love to see massive models blended with chain of thought, though. But yeah, I mean, it's really insightful. It's well researched. Just a wall of beautiful knowledge. This doctor, I'm not going to try to pronounce their name because I'll probably butcher it, has had early access to deep research since Friday, and says he's been using it nonstop. Apparently, it's a game changer for scientific research, publishing, legal documents, medicine, education from his tests, but likely other many use cases as well. He also notes that he used deep research by Gemini, Google Gemini. He says that he has used it and it's also a good model, but this one is much, much better. Obviously, as usual, everything's linked down below. If you guys want to check out a few more of his examples, he's releasing some articles by Deep Research, but take a look at the size of this result in this article as a whole. Cover clinical trials, pathology, the gut microbiome, immune metabolic. Just, this stuff goes way, way over my head. Obviously, I'm not trained in biomedical stuff, but hey, Deep Research is, so we don't have to worry about it. How incredible is that? He says that he just read the whole paper to make sure it's aligned with what we know, and it is, according to him. No editing done. With more information here, Sam Altman does admit that currently, Deep Research is highly compute intensive and slow, but it's the first AI system that can do such a wide variety of complex, valuable tasks. Even Pro tier only gets 100 queries per month, but Plus, Team, and Enterprise users will get access pretty soon, followed by the free tier eventually. I want to move into some O3 mini examples that are pretty tight, so I'll leave you with this tweet from Imad. We are quite clearly in an intelligence takeoff scenario. Forget AGI, ASI, etc. Machines will be able to do most digital knowledge tasks faster, better, and cheaper in the near future. They can coordinate better, scale, and learn from mistakes. Have you considered the implications? I mean, I'm with you, man. The implications are absolutely massive. Things are going to have to change, and we're just not prepared. I think we're literally just going to be stuck asking the AI for help with all of the situations that arise from its insane capabilities, because it's just that much smarter. It's going to disrupt a lot of our current systems that are not designed to handle such intelligent and powerful technology. But since it's so intelligent and powerful, I think it will also be able to help us solve the problems that it arises. All right, let's show off some quick O3 mini examples. First example, we've got a snake game where the snakes compete with each other. So these snakes have some, really simple game logic AI, and they are competing for the same red square or apple or whatever. You can see snake A's score and snake B's score. And, this is obviously RNG. Whichever snake has the best spawns is going to win at the end of the day. And this is a really cool demo, though. Not only did it make Snake, but it made Autonomous Snake that plays Snake better than I could ever hope to. We're also able to see that O3 Mini was able to code up a Twitter clone that is its own py file. And it even has dummy features, so it appears to work very well, where you can make your account, sign up, post a tweet, and it works all within one little py file. It also did the classic, or now classic, Python script of a ball bouncing inside of a tesseract. Classically, Grok 3 was teased at being able to do this prompt, but O3 Mini just wipes the floor with it. Did a 3D solar system, which is really cool. It made this ocean shader as well. No other model apparently has made working shaders in this many tries, let alone one. It just one-shotted shaders, and it's even apparently building things in Minecraft somehow. I have no idea how it's doing that. I assume it's making some sort of a code that translates to the blocks in the game. And it also, of course, crushes DeepSeek R1 on the bouncing ball inside of the spinning hexagon test. I mean, it's a better model all the way around. What are you expecting? Some extra examples I didn't show off in this video, so definitely check the tweet in the description. This comes from Angry Tom. I've also got some more fun examples from our friend Sean Ralston, who works at OpenAI. He says he's blown away by O3 Mini, not just for coding, but for its lightning speed. In just 19 seconds, it generated 4 demos in a single shot, and they all work. He says a new era of AI has arrived, and we can see these demos. It's more simple, just like bouncing balls, and there are effects and colors going on as well. But it did 4 of these coding demos in once. It one-shotted all of them, so that's insane. This is probably the most impressive one. Its ability to do these physics demos really seems to be quite unprecedented. Sean Ralston also does some nice comparisons here to DeepSeek R1. In his opinion, DeepSeek is less coherent, sometimes requiring second shots and takes about 10 times longer, but DeepSeek is still very impressive. Alright guys, I think that just about covers everything that I wanted to show off today. Again, I still really do want to try Deep Research out for myself. That $200 price tag is kind of keeping me from buying it. I want to know if you guys think I should buy it and test it out. And this video, like I said, is already long enough. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this had some valuable insight for you guys. Let me know if you're using these brand new O3 Mini models, how you think they stack up to something like DeepSeek R1, which is open source. And if you're one of those very few people with a ChatGPT Pro plan, what do you think about Deep Research? Have you used it? And do you think it's as big of a game changer as the community seems to think it is? Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.